rev up your engines. Today I'm going to talk about why some cars are turbocharged and some aren't. Now this Volvo XC60 is turbocharged, and it's turbocharged for one main reason. It has a 3-liter engine that puts out 325 horsepower. It's an option on this car. You can also get a 3.2-liter, a bigger engine, but that engine only has 240 horsepower because the bigger engine is not turbocharged. Turbocharging does one main thing. It rams more air into the engine. It's the same as increasing the compression ratio of the engine. It gets more power for the same size engine. So in this case, you can have a smaller engine that weighs less but puts out more horsepower. Now since a smaller engine weighs less, it's going to get better gas mileage because there's less weight that it has to pull around. It weighs less, so there's less work that it has to do. And theoretically, by ramming more air into the engine, you also get better gas mileage, but that's in the theoretical world, not in the real world. Because in the real world, when someone's driving a turbocharged car, they tend to give it a lot of gas, and that goes contrary to good gas mileage. If you drive like the little old lady from Pasadena and go 30, 40 miles all the time with the turbo, you can actually get better gas mileage. Most people, they end up driving faster, accelerating faster, and then you actually get worse gas mileage because, as everybody knows, the faster you drive, the worse your gas mileage is going to be. So even though turbos theoretically get better gas mileage, in the real world, they don't really get much worse gas mileage because people drive them faster. Now, when I was a young mechanic, a turbocharged car was extremely rare. Back in those days, the metallurgy wasn't as good. The turbos, which spin at hundreds of thousands of RPMs, they would just wear out too fast. But today, the designs are much better than they used to be. The turbos are more efficient, the metal's better, and they can last longer, but they do cost an awful lot of money to replace when they finally do wear out. As an example, this 2012 Volvo, if the turbocharger goes out, a brand new turbocharger costs $1,700 just for the turbocharger, and an additional $800 labor to replace the thing because of its design. Now, many modern cars are going to smaller engines with turbochargers to get more power out of a smaller engine to fight that higher gas mileage ratings that the government keeps trying to impose upon cars. Especially here in the United States, Americans won't accept slow, sluggish cars. So if you're driving a little engine that says maybe 1.2 liters, it's got to have a turbo in order to pull itself around fast enough. Now, if you do buy turbocharged, you have to be very religious about changing the engine oil, because the engine oil, not only does it lubricate and cool the engine, it also lubricates and cools the turbocharger. Now, as I said, the modern turbos, they're better designed than the old ones. The old ones, if you drove them real hard, when you went to shut the engine off, you were better to park it, let it idle for 5 minutes, so it would help cool the turbocharger down. The modern ones don't need that kind of babying, but of course, the better a turbo works, the more boost it gives an engine, the more the engine is strained. So your engines tend to wear out faster with a turbocharger versus a car that doesn't have a turbocharger. And of course, realize it costs a lot of money to make a good turbocharging system, so turbocharged cars are going to cost a lot more than a non-turbocharged car. So if you're not a speed demon who wants to zoom around all the time and just driving at normal speeds, hey, you might not want to buy a turbocharged car. But with all the modern pressure on cars to get better gas mileage, with turbocharging and gasoline direct fuel injection systems, I imagine that these systems are here to stay for the future. Because people like having cars that zip around really well, and the day of the massive V8 engine that got 8 miles a gallon in town are pretty much gone. So if you want to have a fun zippy car these days, hey, you're going to have to rely on technology like turbochargers. Or you can just be cheap like me and drive a really old Toyota. Hey, they go fast enough for me, and they're really cheap to maintain. Because take this Volvo as an example. Hey, these turbo cars run quite well when they're running, but Volvo's always been on the verge of bankruptcy lately. Now the Chinese own them, and they claim that they're only going to be making hybrid or electric cars in the future anyway. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.